Hello and welcome to the definitive course on making money as a Vibe coder. This is a homegrown production, so I'm going to show you my entire process. I'm going to teach you how to find high-paying clients. I'm going to teach you how you can Vibe code applications for them in the best way possible, and I'm going to show you how you can scale this to a business that makes you thousands of dollars every single month. My name is Naman, and I've made thousands of dollars from clients around the world. My clients were satisfied with the Vibe coded applications, I was satisfied with the work that I did, and I made a lot of money doing so. So I'm going to cut through everything, and we're going to start talking about the toughest question. How do you find clients that are actually willing to pay you? It's very difficult to find people who are actually willing to pay you high amounts of money in today's market. So that's the big question, and that's what we're going to try and solve in the beginning. So there's two types of lead generation. The first is inbound lead generation, and this is much better because what it means is the client is reaching out to you. So the client is going to reach out to you and say, hey, I need this to be built for my company or for my business. Could you build it for me? Now, the second type is outbound lead generation, which is where you reach out to the client and you say, hey, I think your business might use this or could use this. Can I develop this for you? Now, you always want to go for inbound lead generation, but it's very difficult to have clients and businesses reach out to you unless you have a name in the market, which most freelancers don't have yet. So what I'm going to recommend to you is you start with outbound lead generation, and you also start listing yourself on sites like Freelancer, Upwork, and Fiverr. And when you do that, gradually you will make a name as somebody who can develop high quality software, and eventually you'll have inbound lead generations as well. So on freelancing sites like Fiverr, Upwork, and Freelancer, you have so many different jobs that so many clients need you to build. So many clients need software, and they're literally paying hundreds of dollars, $500, $1,000, all of this money for this software. So clients need software to be built, and this is where we're going to step in with an advantage as Vibe coders. So as Vibe coders, we can build software, production-ready software, very quickly and very efficiently as compared to traditional software engineers. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand out from other freelancers who are pitching the same client. We're going to build the software, then we're going to reach out to the client and say, look, we already built a prototype of your software. What do you think? And what this does is it differentiates us from our competition because other people won't do that because they have to write all of that code manually. But for us, it's very easy to come up with an MVP or a prototype and pitch it to the client before we even know the client. And so that gives us a head start among other people in the freelancing space, and it's something that satisfies the client as well. It shows dedication, it shows commitment to the project. So that's what we're going to be doing. I found a project here that I really like. It's just 150 GBP, which is roughly $200, a little more than $200, I think $210 or something. So we can make that money very quickly by building this website. So I'm going to be using Cursor for this video, but you can use any Vibe coding tool. It really doesn't matter. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the client's requirements, we're going to put them into a prompt, and we're going to build a website. All right, so here I am in Cursor, and I've taken the requirements directly from what the client had listed. I've selected my model as Opus 4.8 from Anthropic, and now we're going to start building the application. I just want to emphasize how rigged this game is in favor of Vibe coders. If you have even a decent amount of experience with these Vibe coding tools, you can really excel and make a lot of money because we don't have to put in too much effort, and we can really get ahead in this game. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit enter, and we're going to let Cursor build this entire application for me. And now we have the website entirely ready for us. Now, what is so special about our business is that we're going to pitch the client with a website that is already ready. So the client's requirements have already been brought to life by our Vibe coding skills. And so when we pitch the client, we're going to be differentiated from all of the traditional software engineers who are just saying, we'll build this for you. We've already built it for the client, so we have a head start that impresses the client. That's the essential idea of this business. We're going to be so fast, we're going to build prototypes so quickly, MVPs so quickly, and so good looking and exactly what the client asked for, that the client is really going to be inclined to choose us among all of the other freelancers that are bidding to the client. So that's the advantage you have as a Vibe coder. It doesn't cost you much. That was like not too many tokens, not too many credits, and it built me the entire application, which I can now present to my client. And this is a perfect website. If we want, we can iterate on this after the client gives us feedback, but for an MVP, this is great. So it has testimonials over here, it has a contact. This is exactly what the client asked for. It has great navigation, so I can click here, 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 hire me. This is all very, very nice stuff. All right, so we already have a big lead over anyone else who wants the same job and who wants this project. But we're going to amplify that by deploying this. So we're going to deploy this website that we've built for our client to an actual URL, and then we're going to share that URL to the client directly. So that's a lot more professional than just giving them the code. We're actually giving them a URL that they can access online, and they'll be like, whoa, this is exactly what I wanted. So let's close this. Let's just add some final touches and let me get this done. That's the client's mentality. So what we're going to do is we're going to deploy this. Now there's a lot of ways that you can deploy your website, but for this video, and the one that I recommend, is Hostinger. So I'm going to head over to my Hostinger dashboard right over here, and I'm going to show you a really nice way to set up Hostinger later on. But for now, let's head over to websites, the section right over here, and I'm going to click on this add website button and this deploy your app from GitHub or upload files. So now there's a lot of ways to do this. You can either upload your files or you can upload your code to GitHub, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. All right, so on this screen, it's asking us to input a domain name. So any domain that you have access to that you're comfortable with for the particular website that we're building, you just want to enter it in over here. So I have one, it's called freelancewinner.tech, and we're going to click on next, and we're going to move forward. So now we have an option. We can either import our code from GitHub or we can upload our files. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the code that Cursor had generated for us, and I'm just going to upload those files into Hostinger. All right, so as you can see, I've uploaded this file here. This is a zip file, and now we're going to click on continue. So this is the code that Cursor generated for us. It's wrapped in Express, and I'm going to click on continue, and let's wait for this to go further. All right, so you can see it's identified Express right over here. I'm not going to, mess around with stuff over here. Let's just make sure that this is all normal stuff. All right, this is all pretty cool stuff. So I'm going to click on deploy, and we're going to just move forward. All right. It's deploying, so let's just wait for it to deploy. Deployment started for freelancewinner.tech. Your application is being built. So let's wait for it to get deployed. All right, deployment completed for freelancewinner.tech. That's great. So now you can see that deployment from files, it has worked. The app at Hostinger, freelancewinner.tech. So if I click on this, it takes us to freelancewinner.tech, the URL right over here, and we can see the website is exactly what we built. We have all of it. So I'm about to talk about why this was so beneficial for our vibe coding business model in just a second. But before that, I want to show you guys how you can set up your plan with Hostinger. So there's a link in the description, hostinger.com/Naman, N-A-M-A-N, and on that link, you're going to be taken to this page where you can see deploy your Node.js web app. So you click on view plans, and I recommend just starting off with the basic business plan right over here. It's $4 a month, and you can click on choose plan right over here. And one more special thing that I have for you guys is a coupon code that gives you 10% off. So it's 48 months right now, so that's $225. But if you apply my coupon code, which is Naman10, and you click on apply, you're going to save a lot of money. So it goes down to $200. So I'd really recommend you try it out. You saw just how seamless the deployment was, and it's going to make your process of delivering websites to your clients much more seamless and much more efficient. Special shout out to Hostinger for sponsoring this video. So now let me explain why we are most likely to get this job and why we're ahead of our competitors. So let's assume two hypothetical competitors. One is a vibe coder, one is a traditional software engineer. So firstly, the traditional software engineer wouldn't have even bother to come up with a prototype because they would have to manually code that entire thing. It would take a lot of time and a lot of effort. All right, so they're out of the picture here. They would have to go through the traditional process where they're applying for the bid and then the client is selecting based on experience and stuff. But we also have a vibe coder. Now the vibe coder built the entire application just like us, and they had the idea of presenting it to the client as well. So they took the files and they sent the files to the client. And then there's us. We didn't do any of that. Well, all we did was we built the application and we deployed it on a link, freelancewinner.tech. And we just sent this link to the client and we said, I have your website ready. Let me know the changes. And this is the first interaction that we had with our client. And that is a winning proposal. That is a winning pitch. We send a website, the client sees that it is custom made for him or her. It's exactly what they asked for, all of the requirements that they mentioned. We have all of that. We have the testimonials. We have all the navigation that they asked for. And this applies to any project. If the client wanted, let's say, a sports website, and we built that and we deployed it for a sports domain, that would impress the client as well. So essentially, our business model is being so ahead of the competition by impressing the client with these minor details. Right? The details are the differentiation. And as vibe coders, we have so much leverage that we can really differentiate ourselves from anyone, whether that's a traditional developer or a vibe coder. who's not going the extra mile. So by deploying, you go the extra mile. I'd really recommend you do that. And after that, it's very easy. So all you got to do is you just got to go to your freelancing platform, whether that's Fiverr, Upwork, Freelancer, and send the link to the client, say, I built this out, check it out. And in my experience, this really works. It gives you an advantage because it's credibility, right? The client doesn't need to do anything other than check the website out. They don't need to check your background or anything that they would do with a typical freelancer. They already have everything. So that's it for this video. I really hope this idea gives you some more ideas on how you can build these websites and sell them to clients around the world. And eventually, as you start doing this, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, you're going to start receiving inbound leads as well. Clients reaching out to you, different clients. That happens through referrals and references, and that's a later part of the game. But for now, you know how to do this. So you can vibe code applications very quickly, prototypes, MVPs, send them over to clients and win the game, make some good monies. Thank you all for watching this video, and peace.